Welcome to the Dump Him podcast, discussing all things modern day dating, learning to love yourself, and when you should just dump him, or her, or them. Hi guys!
Hello everyone!
Welcome back to the Dump Him podcast.
Welcome.
I'm Francesca, in case you're wondering.
And I'm Kitty. I wasn't sure if you were going to go in with that or not.
I was waiting for you to go because I thought it was like we go by Kitty and Francesca, not Francesca and Kitty. I thought it was like Ant and Dec, like you wouldn't say the other way around, Dec and Ant. But we can. I can go first if you want. I can be the more important one.
Should we keep the listeners on edge and just change it up every time?
Yeah, maybe we should start not saying who we are anymore and being like, oh, mystery, who's talking? You'll never know.
Oh man, funny.
Well, Kitty, what have you been up to recently?
Do you know what? I've actually been on some dates. I have.
She's back in business.
Yeah. For anyone who isn't in the UK, we had a very exciting new lift on our restrictions, which was we could finally meet someone outside, 2 meters, of course, with a mask, that wasn't in our support bubble or family. So we could kind of, in theory, date again. So I went on 2 dates quite spontaneously, was chatting to them a bit online. I can't really remember what I met them on. I think they were Tinder, actually. Yeah, so the first one actually is quite a funny story. I've been waiting to tell you this story and I've just not told
you haven't told me this yet.
Basically, I was meeting him outside this pub on the other side of some bridge in London.
Right.
And obviously it was dark because it gets dark early here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm walking up, I'm holding my flask of wine. So I'm a bit awkwardly like trying to get my phone out because I was like, oh, I'm just going to put my AirPods in and give him a call because I wasn't quite sure if he was there yet or not. Anyway, this guy keeps looking over and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was like, is it him? And he looks over again, like keeps looking over, and I'm like, okay, he's a bit taller than I thought he was going to be, and he's sort of, I'm slightly being catfished here, but I'm going to roll with it because he looks a bit shy and like a bit worried. So I was like, okay, like I'll just be nice. So I go over, and I'm like, oh, are you blah blah? His name? And he's like, who? And I was like, his name? And he's like, no, that's not me.
Oh no. I mean,
so I had to just like turn around and walk away like 3 meters and just go and carry on standing there.
That is so funny. Like, but like not funny, haha, like funny, my skin is crawling a bit for you.
It was so bad. And then the guy came up and like nearly passed me by and I was like, that's him. I was like, hi. And he was like, huh? Oh, right.
And the other guy stood there watching like, oh, yes. That's him. Oh,
and I was like, you're never going to guess what's just happened. This was my opening line to this guy. And I was like,
it's a conversation starter.
I thought that was you. I just went over and asked if this was you. And he was like, oh, he didn't say something very nice, but yeah.
What did he say?
No, he just said, oh, if that had been me, I wouldn't have been surprised if you'd walked the other direction.
That's not very nice. No, that's not very nice. I will not stand for that.
It wasn't very nice.
But on the plus side, at least you weren't actually being slightly catfished. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because honestly, my thought, I was just like, oh, I was like, really again?
That is the worst thing about going on a date though, especially like from a dating app, because you're just stood there. Like the last date that I went on, I was like stood waiting for ages because he was late, which happens a lot in London. Like I don't, sometimes you get held up on trains and stuff, whatever, it's no big deal. But I was stood and like I think quite a few people were meeting in the same area for the date because it was quite like an obvious like, place to meet. And so like one guy walked up and I was like, is that him? And he was obviously looking at me and we were both like, is that him? And it wasn't. And like there was like a few guys and a few girls like awkwardly milling around, and then like you're watching as people walk up on their own. It is the worst.
It's so bad, isn't it? Oh God. That's why I normally phone them. And I'm like, oh, because then even if they're not there yet, you're like speaking to someone on the phone, so it doesn't look like you're awkwardly just standing there by yourself.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh, I like that, because otherwise you're just like stood there and then people come up and you, if they're going for a date as well or like meeting someone,
Yeah.
and you have to like scope each other out, and yeah.
Well, you can't just stand there like on your phone minding your own business, because you need to be looking out to see if this person's about to walk past.
To be fair, I always try and style it out by like messaging them and being like, I'm here. Where are you at? Are you here yet? And like, so I'm just looking at my phone and then like looking and seeing if any of them like are replying when the person is replying.
Oh my God.
I also will tend to like not be the one to go over to check. I'll be like, I can't see you, and like be like looking around like
Did you know what?
every
Like,
other
he just
direction.
kept staring, and I was like, if this is him, this is the most awkward start to the day ever. So I was like, I just need to bite the bullet and just check. But oh God, it was bad. Anyway,
Oh my God.
anyway, date was nice. Really lovely guy, got on really well.
But I feel like a slight red flag if he's being mean about other people.
Well, yes, but then at the same time, is it kind of, it was mean. I totally agree. But was it like, you know, you're meeting someone for the first time, like, you know, when you go on a date and you're a bit nervous and the first thing that comes out of your mouth normally doesn't make any sense anyway.
Yeah.
And also I've just gone up to this guy who he's like, oh, thinking that's him. Like, if someone had done that to you with another girl and you'd looked at that girl, granted, I don't think you'd respond that, but you'd be like, oh, really?
No, because I've got that like self-deprecating sense of humor that I'd be like, well, if you want me to leave and you can go on a date with her, that's fine.
No, that wasn't the point.
But just so you know, that is what I would say. No, I guess the like bravado thing that some guys get, and that he's probably all like peacocking, trying to impress you.
Exactly. Yeah. But he was a really nice guy, and we did get on really well. Obviously just had an issue where, to be honest, the only reason I had to leave was because I needed the toilet. And you know what goes on in the UK at the moment is that there's hardly any toilets open. So
Yeah.
got
I had that issue.
Yeah.
Not on the last date that I went on, because we were still within the like, you can't go in anywhere. You just everything like take away drinks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit. Someone just needs to like, that could be a good business model, to be fair. Like
Public toilets.
yeah, like on a van or something, and then you just drive around. Like everybody's going on dates to the South Bank. Like someone just needs to pull up a van with a loo in it and be like 50p for a toilet.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Apparently the ones in the Royal Parks are open, but I live nowhere near a Royal Park, so that wasn't going to happen. Anyway, I haven't seen him again. There was I did get asked to go on a second date.
Okay.
But I just felt like he's someone I'd really love to be friends with, but I just didn't feel like that was sort of the sexual attraction there.
Well, you know, normally you can really feel the sexual attraction from 2 meters away behind a mask.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm, but yeah.
Well, I normally know pretty quickly. I'm like, duh, and it, nah. And then I went on another one. Also,
you've been on a roll.
Yeah, I was on a roll, and then I got exhausted and haven't been on any more since.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I don't.
Yeah, this guy actually, to be fair to him, he brought along homemade mulled wine.
Oh,
yeah.
Was it nice?
Yeah, really good. It was a very, very good effort, to be fair, given ways to spice up an evening lockdown sat in the freezing cold day.
Literally.
Yeah, that was up there. And he walked me back, which was lovely. We're in support of that. But unfortunately, it was just the same again. I just didn't have that attraction. So he did also ask me on a second date. Not bigging myself up here, but
okay.
Yeah. You know, been out a while, but came back in full colours. But yeah, it just, you know what? I don't mean to sound crude about this, right? But I always sort of say to people, and I probably need to say it more to myself, of like, unless you want to rip their clothes off, you're just going to be friends.
No? Look, Kitty, at this point, I don't know what it feels like to have feelings for somebody, so I'm just gonna
No.
listen and be like, okay, I'll bear that in
Yeah.
mind.
Well, I don't either.
It's been so long that I'm like, I don't know what that feels like, but hopefully I'll notice it if it does happen.
Yeah, well, this is yeah, I was thinking this. So yeah, I haven't actually been on any more dates since. Still talking to a few people, so we'll see what happens. But
But
honestly, it was
were you
yeah.
vibing the whole like lockdown walk date thing? Because I think it looks so cute. I saw so many people going on like
Mm.
South Bank walks, dates, not evening things, and it looked sweet.
Do you know what? It was fun. It was
Mhm.
fun, but it was. I feel like I did too quickly because I was sort of having the same conversations. So my conversation starters, I just repeated again. So I was having the same conversations twice in a week, and
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, okay.
I feel like life's not that interesting at the moment. Like,
No, nothing's really going on.
yeah. Like with you, we always have things to talk about,
Yeah.
but like just other conversations, I feel like it's just a bit Groundhog Day, like especially with someone you don't know very well. It's like I don't know if I don't think I'd have anything interesting to say on a date right now.
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of it's a time where you can offer opinions on topics. You know, everyone's got an opinion on Harry and Meghan, for example. So that was sort of quite a good conversation topic.
Mm.
Probably most people don't discuss on a first date, but fine.
I think it could be quite polarizing if they say the wrong thing.
Well, it
Like
was very interesting. This was a very good point. And obviously we
just
have
pointed at
discussed
me so
we have
aggressively.
discussed sorry, I didn't mean it to be aggressive.
If
It was more
anyone's
like a
watching the YouTube version of the recording, which you can find us on
oh,
over
I
there, the
forget every
Dumpling
time.
Podcast on YouTube, you can see us. You will have seen that Kitty did just quite aggressively point at me. But
I
go
was
on.
aggressively pointing at the point
Yeah,
of like, oh well, but I just forget that you're sort of the only one there. Yeah.
no, that's cool. What was the point?
And the point was actually, I know we've discussed previously about dating people with different political views. This became more apparent on the dates, and it was actually a route I decided I don't want to go down.
What,
Because,
dating someone with a different view?
yeah,
Ah,
and not just, I don't know, political party or what's going on in the world at the moment, but sort of in general.
about things, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I just thought, actually, I can't be bothered to keep having the debate once I'm in a relationship with someone.
Yeah, and do you know what? I don't know if this is something that's changed in you and me as we've gotten older, or if it's something that's appeared via lockdown. It's quite hard to tell, but I feel like when we were a bit younger, we I know I personally like I could completely avoid those topics with someone I was dating and like not talk about the bigger things in life, and
Mm,
like even just in my everyday life with my friends I could avoid ever getting onto these topics because we were so like frivolous and like we just, keep not superficial conversation but like not actually getting onto those things that are like fundamentally your like belief system and your
mm,
integrity.
yeah.
um but actually I found more recently like I'm having those deep conversations about things that matter to me or things I think or things I believe in, but I don't know if that's a product of lockdown because we've all become a bit more like introspective and deeper and life has a bit more like weight and meaning now, or if that's just because me and you are like hitting our mid-20s and we're becoming serious.
I feel like it's probably a combination of both. I mean, I pay a lot more attention to politics and what's going on in the news now. I mean, I listen to LBC every morning. You know, I'm weirdly addicted to it. But then I also think at the same time, it's because of lockdown, because of everything that's going on. It's like we haven't got things to gossip about. We haven't got
Yeah,
like, oh, this happened on TV last night. We haven't got things like that.
yeah,
So I feel like it's almost opened up a space for us to discuss and actually think about these sort of more in-depth political and moral values in that sense
yeah.
at the same time.
Because I used to be such a like pick me girl when I was a teenager. Like when I think back to the stuff I used to say, it just makes me cringe. Like I remember saying to guys like, I would never call myself a feminist. Like I think that's really like ugh, and like just playing on all these stereotypes because
Mm,
like I thought that was what was more attractive to men and like to guys like
Like, I
Not
won't get
having,
angry if you game all day. Don't worry, babe. You go
yeah,
out and see
like,
the guys.
yeah,
Have
you don't
fun.
have
It's
to like
fine.
hold the door open for me, like whatever, like just pick me behavior.
Yeah.
And I feel like as I've gotten older, and I think part of this I've noticed in myself, like from when I hit like my 20s, but also I've noticed it over the course of the pandemic, is I'm just so like I've got so much less time for like like sugarcoating the things I say and believe in for other people. I'm like, no, this is what I stand for, and I'm not gonna hide that or like suppress it if you fully disagree with me. Like if someone says something I disagree with, I'm not gonna like shimmy away from a debate and be like, okay, whatever you say, babe. Like I'm gonna express my thoughts because I have every right to, just as much as you do.
Yeah, and
Um,
I exactly, and I also think that, you know, when we're dating now, it's like it's something that could end up in a relationship, right? Do you really want to be in a relationship with someone where you are not being your real authentic self? Imagine how long you would have to keep your real feelings about something covered up for, and how difficult that would be. Like, you might as well just be honest from the start, and if they don't like that, that's fine, they're not the person for you. Move
yeah.
on.
And no person is worth changing your opinions on something for.
No,
The
definitely not.
amount of times I'd be like, oh, well, I used to think this, but now I just fucking parrot what the guy I'm dating thinks about stuff because I don't have an original thought in my head. Like, that is not worth it. You had those things that you cared about for a reason, like, stick to them. So I'm
Mhm.
a bit more outspoken now, which is probably just going to make it even harder to find somebody that I'm compatible with. But who
Yeah,
cares?
but we'll find the right people though. That's the thing. We won't waste time with people we're not sure about. And I think that's actually something I've really learned from this, is like, if you're not feeling it from the first date, I'm not going to be going on a second one. Like,
Hmm.
I've dated enough people now to know that when I've liked someone, I've known straight away.
Yeah.
And I completely understand people have different relationships where things develop and stuff like that. But when I've tried to force something, it's not worked out. I mean, it's
Hmm.
obviously never worked out because I'm still single, but, you know, I have stayed in relationships longer when I have actually liked someone.
Yeah.
I
Very
think it's
fair.
good. But Franks, how about you? How's your week been?
Well, I haven't been on 2 dates, that's for sure. Um, yeah, I haven't really been doing a lot. To be fair, I've been similar to you from what you said about like, not, if you're not going to bother going on a second date, if you're not sure from the first one. That's what I'm like with like replying to people on Hinge now. Because I feel like I keep like matching people and then they'll send me a message and then I'll look at their message and I'll be like, don't really want to reply to that. And then I'll look at their
Mm-hmm.
profile and I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to reply to you. And I'm just not feeling it. So I think sometimes it's the best decision to make is to not engage in things, like choosing to not bother, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
is just as important as choosing to bother. So the vibe I'm on at the moment, I'm just working on myself, working on some things I've got going on that will be I'm hustling, I'm busy, I'm
Are
doing
you
me.
are you doing self-care March?
I am doing self-care March. I have been straight in the self-care.
Great. Would you like some more?
I would always like some more.
Great. It's lucky I got some prepared for you.
But it's almost like we planned that for our last episode of Self Care March. It's like how fortuitous that you just had those tips
Amazing,
ready.
isn't it?
It's
Who
like
would
we
have
were
thought?
running it as a mini series within the episodes, wasn't it? Did anyone notice? Self Care
I
March,
wonder.
hit me. What's our final challenges?
Okay, number one. For this week, guys, eat healthily.
Yeah.
Feel good, be good, get your veggies out, get your fruit out, and crucially, try a new recipe.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Two, move for at least 30 minutes a day.
Oh,
Get
I
up.
have been bad at that this week.
No, you need to get better. Get up, go for a walk, go for a run, do some yoga, do
Okay.
some workouts. You know what's really fun? Get your workout gear on, okay? Get YouTube up and just do some of those free workouts, free 10-minute workouts. They are so good. I've been doing
Yeah.
some standing ab ones with no jumping, because obviously if you live in an apartment
Are
block.
those the Chloe Ting ones?
Well, the Chloe thing is fabulous, but there's loads of other people on there that are really fun.
Yeah, I
Chloe
like
thing is
some of
quite
the
hot.
Pilates and yoga workouts on YouTube as well, even if you're feeling more chilled than standing abs.
It's great. It's so good. 3. We got 4 today, guys. 3. Confront your negativity on paper. Is anything you're feeling a bit down about? Anything you're feeling worried about? Get it out. Write it down on paper. You'll feel that release of getting rid of it, and then you won't let it overpower all the positivity and the positive emotions and feelings that you've got going on.
That's nice. That's cute.
Good one, that.
Like
4. This was suggested from Francesca herself.
Yeah.
Which is, and you can do this online so you can stay safe in COVID times. However, if you live overseas, I'm sure everything is open. You're having a fabulous time. So please do go to a shop. But buy yourself some flowers.
Ta-da! Support your local economy. Support local businesses. But yeah, I did that this week. I bought myself some lovely tulips that have bloomed beautifully in my kitchen. It's just nice to like brighten the place up, and it feels like a little treat because you're like, I don't actually need these flowers to survive, but they're like a little gift to myself, and they make the place very cute and nice.
And also, guys, because I'm a bit weird about killing things, right? Flowers, actually, the more you cut them, the more they grow. So you're doing them a favor by because I used to think flowers, like, why? They just die. Like, what's the point? But actually, it's really good for them and it makes them stronger.
Okay, I'm sure nobody was sat at home thinking that, but
okay, cool.
Glad to put their minds at rest if they do think like you do.
Okay, cool.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love the way your mind works. It's just
weird. Imagine being in it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what goes on in there sometimes.
I'm on a roller coaster every day.
So, Kitty.
Yes, Franks.
This episode, we decided we would talk about something that is pretty interesting. I feel like there's a lot of factors.
Okay.
And that is something called FOBO, FOBO, which is a term coined by Patrick McGuinness. And it stands for the fear of better options. Now, this is essentially the relentless pursuit of exploring all of your options out of the fear that you're missing out on something better. And I think you can apply this to a lot of areas of modern life, but it's particularly interesting, and I think something we have experience in within like modern dating and dating apps. And I think there's kind of like different ways that we see this manifesting in our dating lives. So we love that Love Island phrase of putting eggs in your basket. Eggs in your basket. And I think sometimes we get too hyper focused on keeping all of our eggs and not putting them in anybody's basket, but having lots of options. And the more options that we have, the less effort we put in with them individually. So it's examples of like forgetting to reply to one because you're busy replying to another, not wanting to make plans with somebody in case someone else replies and says they're free. Or it's like when you go on like a food delivery app like Deliveroo, Uber Eats, other apps are available, and you get so like caught up on scrolling that you spend ages looking for something, and then you decide you can't bother and it's too late now anyway, it's bedtime. Or like I do it a lot of streaming services. Yeah, Netflix. I will spend so long looking for something that then I'm like, there's no point now, I need to sleep. And that's the kind of FOBO, fear of better options, like in those areas. But I think we do it a lot in dating. I mean, I say we as in like everybody, not you and me particularly. It's the kind of grass is greener on the other side viewpoint of like not wanting to commit. I think it often appears as like being scared of commitment because you don't want to commit to one person in case a better option comes along. So yeah, I thought it'd be interesting if we could chat about our experiences of it. You're giving me a face. What's the face?
That is me.
Is it?
Yeah, everything you've just said, that is me.
Yeah, I have a slightly sinking feeling in my tummy because I'm like, yeah, me too.
Do you know what though? Do you know what? With dating apps, right? You can be so fussy about what you actually swipe right on. I go through phases where I'm like, don't like the shoes. No.
Yeah.
Don't like his job. Nope.
Or like
He
this,
lives 2 kilometers away. Nope.
the other day I was looking at a guy's profile and I didn't like what his friend was wearing or something like that. And I was just like, well, you know, your friends are a representation of you. So
Well, it's true. No, it's true.
like, when have I ever had control over anything that you wear? Like, I don't have a say in what you wear. That's your choice. But for some reason, I was using that as like a metric to judge other people.
Yeah, but sorry, fashion sense can be the biggest turn on or turn off.
But I wasn't trying to be turned on by his friend. But I think like modern dating apps have made it so easy to have that kind of attitude because you just have so many options. Like back in our grandparents' day, you probably had like, I don't know, 3 guys around your age
if that.
that you knew, literally, full stop, and maybe one of them was your cousin. So it was like, it was probably a lot of an easier choice, and you probably could weigh up your options quite easily. But now it's like, you know, it isn't the case at all because when has it ever happened to somebody? But it's like the whole, you know, if you commit and get into a exclusive whatever situationship with somebody, the next day you're going to open Tinder and like the love of your life and the most gorgeous guy ever is going to be there wanting to date you, which has never happened to anybody. But it's like that's what we have conditioned ourselves to believe because, and I think a lot of it is probably to do with like the marketing of dating apps being like, look at all these options, you'll never run out of options, literally you will never get to the bottom of the pile of Tinder profiles.
No.
And so we're like, cool, well, you know, if I find this one tiny thing about this guy, I can just protect myself by looking for other options.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on it?
All of it. I have a thought on all of it. That I think it's exactly what probably more of us do than we even realize we do.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you just imagine how small the pool of people would be if you were having to go out and physically meet these people.
Do you know what? I'm gonna make a sweeping generalization here, and this might be controversial.
Okay.
But I am going to say that I think around 95% of people who have quote unquote commitment issues or quote unquote don't want to commit, I would chalk it up to being a fear of a better option.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
Thank you. I'm really glad that you didn't think that was crazy because that was a pretty big unscientific statement.
No, and I feel like I've definitely been one of those people, and I've been with people who have been those people.
Yeah, because when you talk it up to like what really is the situation when either you or someone tells you like I don't want to commit and make this an official thing, but we can still like act like it is, but without a label on it. That's just so it's easier to get out of if you find somebody else. What's the real difference? It's not to do with like I don't want to feel like I need to come around and like make you dinner or watch a film with you because you're doing that anyway. It's just the easier out of the door because it's less of a breakup than if you're a boyfriend or girlfriend.
But you know what's funny though is even in a breakup, like it's not like you've got a legally binding contract. It's still exactly the same conversation going, actually, this isn't going where I want it to go or thought it was going to go. So I think we should go our separate ways. Which you can have that conversation whilst you're in a relationship or whilst you're just dating someone.
Yeah.
But people seem to think as soon as you're boyfriend and girlfriend, it's like God's most serious thing going on. And God, you could never break up. My God, no way.
I wonder like because I'm not knowledgeable on like the getting engaged and married side of things. We're not really at that stage yet, and I don't have any friends who are, so I can't speak to their experience. But I wonder how many guys like or people in relationships get to a certain age and it's like, okay, are we gonna get married now? And one of them is like, nah, I can't commit, that's too much commitment for me, but it's because of the fear of a better option. It's like, what if someone else comes along?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's because of that reason, but I know plenty of people who have just been in relationships for ages, and the other one is like, oh no, we can't get engaged yet. Yeah, I know
But
loads.
also, like, I kind of get it, because the thought of like committing to someone, whether it's a marriage or even just a relationship, I'm like, I don't want to waste another one of those on somebody if it's not gonna be good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but then isn't, don't they say, when you've met the one, and that's kind of it, like you don't want to be with anyone else, that's the point.
Yes, I have heard that, but I also think that we have a very like romanticized view of love from films. And this could be me being cynical and a pessimist. We all know the vibe I'm on at the moment. I'm not interested in catching feelings for anybody. I will quite happily run down the street away from that. But what like I do think a lot of it is like, because I don't know, I've never met the one, so but like, would you really know straight off?
But this is what I'm saying. People say you don't know until you know. And then when you know, you know.
But then I'm thinking that how can I phrase this, because I feel like this is, I'm gonna try and make a complicated point here, but I need to phrase it right. I feel like because we're so convinced that when we meet the one we'll know that we know,
Yeah.
that maybe sometimes people meet the one, but because they don't know that they know, they think they haven't. Do you
So
know?
people I've spoken to said you literally cannot explain it, but you just know. There's no way of explaining it. And they've been with people previously who they thought they would end up with forever. And then the relationship that they've then ended up with is like, it's so different.
Okay, but then taking like marriage out of the equation,
Yeah.
at our age, like realistically, it's not like, it's not 100%, it's not a guaranteed certain that the person we meet now is going to be the person we end up marrying. We could just be in a relationship for however long.
Yeah. And I think this is a really interesting point, because I feel like you might have a few people that right? So you know how some people, they get married, they're quite young, they've met the person, they know, right?
Yeah.
And then when they're sort of 50, they get divorced.
Yeah.
And then they are happily in a relationship with someone else for the rest of it, right? And they know again that
Yeah.
that's the person they want to be with.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can know, but then sometimes maybe you just don't grow together, you grow apart, or you grow together for a bit and then you divide. But you did know for sure, and then it falls apart, but then again with someone else.
But I also feel like there are people in their early 20s, like us, who are statistically probably not going to meet the person they're like, a soulmate, if you believe in that, the person they're going to marry and have children with. But because they're caught up on that idea of when they'll like meet someone who they could be with for like a few years. It might not pan out that way, but they could, they could make you happy for now. But because they're caught up on this, like, when that's their better option, is like the soulmate twin flame connection, whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah.
I just think the fear of better options is the root of all of the issues in the world, and no one will change my mind.
But do you know what I think with those people is they normally stem from quite a young relationship where they haven't had many previous other relationships. The people that you speak to where they've said about, is the people who have had plenty of other experience in previous relationships. So people our age who are happily in a committed relationship now and have been in for quite a few years, a lot of them that I know have never been in a relationship before that relationship. So they've met this person and they're like, holy shit. Because we all know what we're like in our first relationship, right? Your
Oh
first
boy.
love. Okay.
Yeah.
You honestly, you do think you're going to marry that person. And I feel like these people are sort of very happily in this section of like, yeah, this is a good relationship. Yeah, this is going well. This must be my person. I know. But because they haven't experienced what it's like to not know, they don't know what it's like to know.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I just feel like we've overused the word no so much now that I don't even know if it's a real word anymore.
Yes, I get you. We'll move away from that word.
But yeah, I mean, we agree that fear of better options is a thing, right? Like, this is
Yes, but yes, but listen to your gut at the same time. Like with these dates, for example, for me, I don't feel like I'm not giving them another go because I feel like I've got better options. I based that on my gut feeling of like, actually, no. It wasn't because, oh, I can't wait to get back to Tinder and find out who else is out there.
yeah, and you know what? I feel like I do experience this FOBO thing, but not in the sense that I'm like going on a million dates and talking to 10 guys at the same time, which how the times have changed because I used to advocate for that. That used to be my modus operandi. But I think I'm just at the point where I'm like, I just don't want something like half-assed and lukewarm. Like if I'm gonna bother to commit to somebody, I want it to be good and like makes me happy and ticks all the boxes of the things I want and isn't like full on or any of the things that I'm not looking for. And I would quite happily rather like if there are going to be guys coming along that are like, I could date them for a bit, whatever. It could be meh. We could argue about stuff. There could be things I don't like about them or they don't like about me or whatever. Like it's just not fantastic and it doesn't fit in perfectly around my schedule, then I'm quite happy being single for a few years. When I'm like pushing into my 30s and my clock starts ticking, that's going to be the issue then and I'll need to work past it. But I don't mind chasing a better option now. Like, why would I want to settle for something lukewarm?
Yeah, and there's no point just being in a relationship to be in a relationship if it's a shit relationship or a mediocre relationship. It doesn't even have to be shit, even if it's mediocre. Like, what is the point? Because you will just be happier by yourself. And if you're not happier by yourself, you need to go and be by yourself and work out how to be happier by yourself.
Preach. Because I feel like, have we talked about this on the podcast before? I remember having a conversation with you about this. I don't know if it was like in person or over text, but that thing where it was like your first love, you like learn what love is, and like then
Second one breaks your heart.
and that's like the worst one ever, and that like fucks you up and like teaches you how bad it can be. And then your third one is like your good one. It's like easy, it fits around your life. You don't like completely sacrifice all of your like individuality like you do with the second one. And I feel like I'm just waiting. I've done the first two. I'm very confident that I have. Now I'm like, I want my third one to be good. I don't want to waste it on someone that's going to give me something that's like similar to the second. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be spot on. It needs to be the best option, basically. Even if I don't like, not necessarily if I'm going to be with them forever, but like, why would I want to bother with something now when I know precisely what I want and how I want a relationship to be?
I think also like, you know, the second one where you learn all the lessons, like I learned so much from that relationship. So yeah, I totally agree. The third one, we spoke about this when we did the recording, the right at the beginning, the intro recording. It's on YouTube, guys, if you want to check it out, where we did truth or drink. No, it wasn't truth or drink.
We did answering questions.
Yeah, we just pulled them out of the cocktail cup.
We did.
That
feels like a million years ago. Yeah.
It nearly was a year ago.
Okay, well.
Okay, we're still 4 months off, but
yeah.
I feel we've grown up a lot since then.
Things have changed since then. Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what? I was looking back this morning at pictures of us in the first lockdown, right? Because obviously it just started at this point a year ago. And I was like, I look so much older. The pandemic genuinely aged me in a year.
Oh my God, don't. I'm like finding wrinkles now. This is ridiculous.
I looked like I was like 12 a year ago.
But also I just used to be so carefree. Like, what did I do all day a year ago? Sorry, this is getting kind of off topic, but
I don't know. I had a great time. We were gardening.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of when it was a novelty though, wasn't it? It was still exciting at that point. But yeah, Franks, have you got a pet peeve?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Wait, no, can I just say, I feel like I'm coming across as a bit of a Debbie Downer this episode.
Oh.
Am I?
I didn't think so.
Okay, cool. I'm not meaning to.
Skeptical of love.
I'm skeptical of love, and I'm like...
and all men. Guys, you should see what happens when I try and text her about a guy.
No, I am supportive. I just think that some of the guys on your roster are very substandard and they're close to getting dropped.
By Francesca. Francesca's gonna personally come and drop them.
Kitty might be the captain of the team, but I'm the fucking manager, okay? I'm calling the shots behind the scenes. I'm the chairman of the club.
There was this week, maybe like a couple of months ago, and there were just a few things that came up with guys, like not even guys I was dating, just general guys. And I texted Francesca like 3 times in this week, and every time it was like, I just don't believe them. I don't trust them. No, I'm just not sure. On like 3 different occasions.
I get told so much that I'm like too cynical.
You are.
The amount of like pep talks I've had from like people being like, you're just too cynical. You just need to open yourself up to it. Someone will change your mind. There are good guys out there. And I'm like, I'm sure they are. I would rather just be friends with them though.
It was when I was like, I think it got to the third one, I was like, Frank, I love you, but you've just got to chill out a bit. They could be good guys, like it could be fine.
What can I
it was
say?
so funny.
I've got fear of better options.
You have got fear of better options.
Okay, pet peeve. Yes. Pet peeve. Okay, at the risk of I'm going to try and sound chirpier because I feel like I'm just coming across as like the moodiest person ever this week. But I actually wrote it's 4 in 1. I hope that's okay.
4?
Yeah, but like they're linked.
Oh, okay.
Okay, at the risk of sounding like a broken record because we've been doing this for a year now.
Mm-hmm.
But my 4 pet peeves today are COVID deniers, anti-vaxxers, people that don't wear masks, and people that are going on holiday.
I think that's my favourite pet peeve we've ever had.
Thank you. First of all, COVID is fucking real. Go back and listen to my episode. I had it. Even if you haven't had it or haven't heard of anyone that's had it, nobody would make it up, right? Nobody's invented this as like a mind control tactic. So just put a fucking mask on. It's not hard. Yeah. And anti-vaxxers, it's just like, it's one thing choosing not to have something. Fine. Don't write an essay on Facebook about it on your status. I don't care. Also, just want to point this out because I discovered this recently because I've seen a lot of people being like, it's too new a vaccine. We don't know what's in it. The vaccine was actually developed for an earlier strain of COVID that came out in like 2003. So this vaccine has been in development for nearly 20 years. So also, either have it and shut up or don't have it and shut up. But either way, shut up.
Yeah, guys, I work in the industry. I promise you it's fine. I would know if it wasn't. Secondly, with the mask, guys, if you're that annoyed about someone else wearing a mask, you need to get a serious reality check because why does it bother you so much what someone else is wearing? That is a pure reflection on you and your own insecurities, not the other person.
But also, like, I understand, I get the kind of thing where it's like, oh, if you have an illness, then you don't have to wear it or a what's exemption.
Yeah, but fine, but no one's getting annoyed about that. People are getting annoyed when people are wearing them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the videos of people like screaming or like the ones of people shouting. I saw a video earlier, actually, to be honest. I'm realizing that a lot of this is stuff that I saw on the internet today, and that's what's made me really riled up about it. I haven't actually left my house today, so I haven't seen anyone not wearing a mask. I'm trying to avoid the internet. Yeah. But there was a video of this guy like making a girl cry, and it was British, which is why it stuck with me because a lot of them happen in the US and people are crazy over there. So what's going on there baffles me. But it was in a British shop, and the girl had said to the guy, like, can you please put a mask on? We've got one here for if you want it, and like gave him the box. And he obviously gave her down the banks and said he had an exemption and was like shouting at her. And she burst into tears. And it was like an 18-year-old girl in the shop. And this guy is like, you asked me to wear a mask, you look silly now, because you don't know I've got this, that, and the other. I don't have to wear a mask. And you coming over here in the police state and all this shite.
Oh, God.
It's just like, I've just had enough, basically. I'm over it. And also holiday bookers as well. So I saw a TikTok earlier where this girl was like, I'm being held in a hotel in the UK. They only let me out in the car park for exercise and they put all my meals by my door and the government's made me do this. And then you scroll back and she was like filming herself in a pool in Dubai a few days earlier. And I just stop it. I'm really angry. I'm actually fuming. I tried to chirp up and now I'm like, actually, my blood is boiling. Do you know what got me the other day? It made me really angry with those lockdown protests. Doesn't help the situation. I get you want to have your voice heard. Walking around in tens of thousands of people without a mask on when there's a fucking pandemic going on doesn't help anyone.
That's going to keep us in lockdown, not get us out. Stupid.
I just feel like I respect people's views. I'm not gonna like, I understand there are reasons why people would not want to have the vaccine. Like, I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but I respect your right to make a decision.
Yeah.
But you, as much as I'm respecting your right to make that decision, you should respect my right to A, want the vaccine at the earliest possible chance I can get it. B, want to wear a mask anytime I don't have like free airflow to me. And C, we all want to go on a holiday. Like, just wait. Like, we can when this is over. But the more that people are like, oh, it's a loophole, I'm gonna, fly to here and then walk over the border and then be put in a suitcase and smuggled to somewhere just so you can like get a few days in the sun now. It's like, just hold on. We can all do it, but like in a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I think it's so unfair. These people are being so selfish for all these key workers who are going out and putting their lives on the line every single day to help people. These other people are quite frankly only thinking about themselves.
It's just the worst is people when I still see people, and this is, I spend too much time on Twitter and Facebook, I need to get off. But people on social media trying to say that it's not real and that it was made up and this is fake. And just like, get in the bin. Just get in the bin.
Yeah. I don't know what their gain is from doing that, to be honest. I really don't understand it. But in this bay, they probably don't understand how we know it's real. We don't understand that we don't know how they you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I get the point that you were trying to make.
I just couldn't get my words out.
But yeah, that's this week's pet peeve. Hopefully it never has to be that again, because everyone will just shut up.
Just get on with it. Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, thank you for joining us today. We have a fantastic guest on next week.
We do, yeah. In better news, things will start looking up.
Yeah.
I'll be in a better mood next week.
But next week's episode is insane.
It's a real good one. I don't want to say too much now, but
no, I don't.
You don't want to miss it. It'll be out Monday morning on all good podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on all sorts of crazy things. You can get us on your Google Home. You can get us on TuneIn. You can get us on Pandora. Loads of other things. I don't even know what they are. And we're also on YouTube. You can watch us record and you can see our lovely guest on YouTube. Just search Dumpling Podcast. It's as easy as that.
We also have our website, thedumplingpodcast.com.
We do. And our Instagram, @thedumplingpodcast. And we have an email in case you want to send us a particularly lengthy message about what's on your mind. thedumplingpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up there.
We have 2 Facebook groups, The Dumpling Podcast and Girl Help, The Dumpling Podcast.
Do you think we've got too many ways to contact us?
No.
Like, this is going on a bit. We also have a Spotify playlist, TDHP Anthems. You can find that on a cheeky search. It's also linked in our Instagram bio. You can find everything there if you haven't written all this down. I don't blame you.
Yeah, guys, and look, if you want us anywhere else, just let us know and we'll get on there.
Yeah, although we're pretty much everywhere, apart from publicising our actual addresses would be the next step. So
TikTok.
I don't know how much more you want. Maybe. Let us know. And guys, don't forget, if you want to have your own small part to play in the show, you can send stuff in to us. You can submit a dilemma, which we can answer anonymously. You can also submit question topics if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, anything you want us to cover, or even any guest ideas that you want us to speak to. You can have your own little role in creating the podcast.
Probably that.
So yeah, shoot us a message on any of those things, places, locations, platforms. That's the word. Platforms. Shoot us a message there. Tell us what you want to hear, and we will make it happen for you. Because we are cool as Uber Eats. Because we deliver.
Woo!
I love that line.
Alrighty, guys. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.